One of the most common questions I'm asked is, can I use a website builder like Wix or Squarespace to build my business website? And the answer is yeah, of course you can. You can use anything you want. Is it a good idea? Well, that just depends. And would I use Wix or Squarespace? The answer is no, I would not. And in this video, I'm going to give you 3 reasons why I would not use it. But I'll build a little case about why you might want to use it. So either way, by the end of this video, I think you'll have a better understanding of what the best option is for you. So the first reason why I wouldn't use Wix is customization. Now, over the last 10 years, Wix has grown and become a lot better at offering more customization. But ultimately, it's very simple and basic as far as web design goes, and for good reason. It has to be. Wix is used by millions of people, most of which have almost zero web design experience. So they have to make it really, really easy, and they don't want to be getting tons of customers that can't figure out what's going on. So that would make sense why they want to do that. A good analogy for this would be like furniture. So like, let's say that you need a table for your house, and you could go to like a custom furniture maker, and this master carpenter will maybe sometimes go as far as going out and finding the right tree and chopping down that tree and milling the boards that he needs and shaping those boards into the perfect pieces and then assembling those boards in such a way that makes a beautiful table that's truly a work of art. And this would be the equivalent of like a web developer or a custom coder going in and using programming code to create a fully customized website. They build the pieces and then they assemble the pieces together, and you're left with a website that was purely created by this person. Now, the average business owner that has never done anything with a website obviously isn't going to do that. So they might do something akin to like Wix, which is like going to IKEA. You're not buying a finished table when you go to IKEA. You're finding one you like and then buying a box with all the pieces in it and then going home and assembling that. And so, it takes a little bit of work and effort, but by the end, you're left with a pretty standard piece of furniture that hopefully looks like the one that you found in the IKEA warehouse. So what's the difference between these two? Well, one of them is like prefabricated and the other one's completely custom, but they're both a table. You can sit down and eat dinner at it. You can set your laptop on it and work. And so it really just depends on what you need. If you just need a table, then maybe going to IKEA and getting one is good for you. If you want a really nice table and you're willing to invest the money in getting that table, then maybe you would want to just go somewhere and buy a finished piece of furniture and have it put in your house. That would be the equivalent of hiring someone like me to build a website for you. So using Wix is kind of like buying an IKEA table or piece of furniture. There's not a whole lot of customization that you can do with it. You just scroll through and look at all the different templates they have, and then you pick the template that you like. Now you can like mix and match pieces and do some customizations, change the colors and stuff like that, but for the most part it's pretty limited. The limitations that bother me are more on the technical side, and we do this all the time. We have like a toolbox with tools in it that we use all the time. We like using these tools. We know how to use these tools quickly and efficiently to get the results we're after. It's all about getting results. Nobody just wants a website for the sake of having a website. Most business owners want a website so that it will bring in new customers. That's the goal. So if you can build a Wix website and get it to bring in customers, then I guess it will work for you. Those are the limitations that I've ran up against. There's been clients in the past that came to me with a website that they built on Wix, And when it came time for us to do search engine optimization and make sure that that website could be found more easily on the internet, we ran into a bunch of roadblocks. There were just a lot of things we couldn't change that we wanted to change. And so our strategy came to a screaming halt. So that's reason one why I wouldn't use Wix: customization or lack thereof. Number two, and probably the most important consideration for me, is control. So in this day and age, control has never been as important. There's examples happening all the time of people realizing how little control they have. Let's just take the recent social media bannings. Like, millions of people were recently banned on Facebook and Twitter and all these different social medias. And these are people that had spent years, some over 10 years, building up these audiences, building up these assets that they thought they controlled, only to have somebody at these companies decide, you know what, we don't like you, we're going to turn you off. And all of that work, all of that value that they built up was just stripped away from them instantly, and they had no say in it. And that's similar to Wix. If you spend 10 years building up this Wix website and it's really good and it brings in tons of customers, and all of a sudden the people that control Wix decide they don't like you, or they don't like your website, or they don't like your business, or they don't like who you voted for, or they don't like anything, they can just turn you off with the flip of a switch. And for a business, that's incredibly bad. A business, you need to be able to rely on future income. You need to be able to build assets that you own and control, that nobody can just take away from you on a whim. And that is probably the biggest reason why I would never use Wix or Squarespace or any of these. We use WordPress, and it's the kind of WordPress that we own. I own the files to my website. I own the information. If I pay a host called DreamHost to host that website online. That makes it available to anybody searching. If DreamHost decides they don't like me and they turn my website off, I can take my files to any other host, put them on there, and my website will be live. I can even use my own computer to host those files to make sure that my website stays on the internet. And that is critically important to me. So control is something that is severely lacking when you put all of your eggs in a basket that you don't actually own. If you buy your website from Wix, you have to pay them to keep that thing on. If you don't pay them, your website goes away. And if they decide they don't like you and they want to turn you off, your website goes away. No bueno. And speaking of price, that brings me into my third point. So when you create a Wix website, I don't know exactly how much it is, but I think it's around $300 a year. So, at the beginning, it's kind of valuable because they really walk you through the steps of building your own website, and you yourself can spend 40 hours or whatever learning how to use their tools and putting together a website that gets online. So, mission accomplished. But then you have to turn around and spend $300 a year every single year from there on out to keep this super basic website online. And at that point, that's really, really expensive. If you were to host your own files through a host like DreamHost, you could do it for like half of that. And if you host with a company like mine that offers managed hosting for your website for $50 a month, which is twice as much as Wix, so $600 a year, you'll actually have real people that you can talk to logging into your website every single month, checking everything, making sure everything's working properly, helping you if there's any technical issues, helping you get status reports on what's going on. For just 100% increase, so from $300 a year to $600 a year, you have actual marketers looking at your website once per month, making sure everything's working all the time, and you don't even have to worry about it. We will make sure that it's staying operational and functional all the time. So that's a huge value as compared with Wix. They will keep your website online, but if something breaks or something doesn't look right, like they're not paying attention to that. Unless you are logging in on a regular basis and making sure everything looks correct and is working correctly, then chances are something will break eventually. But for what you get in the beginning, I'd say it might be worth it to spend $300 to be able to learn how to build your own website in 40 hours or however long it takes you. But in the long run, Wix is going to be a lot more expensive for the value you get. So those are the three main reasons why I personally wouldn't use Wix: customization or lack thereof, control or lack thereof, and a really high price for what you get in the long run. So I hope that's helpful in answering some of your questions. I want to leave you with this thought that what tools are used to build your website, that isn't the most important thing. I'd say that's about 25% of the equation, because customizability is important. Scalability could be important to you. Control is definitely important to you if you're a business owner. Cost, that's super important. Those are all dependent on the tools you use. But 75% of the equation is what's on the website, and if it's able to be found on the internet. You might use the best tools in the world and make this super custom coded thing that took you 4,000 hours to make. But if the images and the text on the website aren't intriguing or interesting to the people searching for you, then it's not going to get you any customers, and it doesn't matter anyways. You might as well not have a website if the website you have isn't doing what it's supposed to do. So keep that in mind. The tools you use are they're important, but the main part of the equation is, do you have the right message? Do you have the right images? And can people find you on the internet?